Hey everybody, this is Mitch, the assistant swim coach here at the University of Richmond. I'm sitting down with Professor Bill Bergman, who works in the business school, also does a lot of the marketing classes here, works with our student athletes and students, obviously all on campus. First off, tell us a little bit about your background. How'd you get to Richmond?
Well, thanks, Mitch. You know, it's kind of a long story, so I won't bore you guys totally to death. But I've been teaching at Richmond for 10 years now. This is my 10th, maybe 11th year. And I moved to Richmond, Virginia from New York City like in the early 90s. And I started an ad agency here that is still in existence. It's 27 years old right now. And I used to teach, I taught as an adjunct at the University of Richmond. I think I started in 2009, and I taught a principal's course. And then they asked me to we'd like you teaching one, could you teach two? And I was like, I have another full-time job, but I'll do it. Then it was, hey, could you teach three? And it was like, okay. So I teach 3 full-time courses every semester, and I also try to run the Bergman Group, which is an ad agency. And the business school has they have a couple of people like myself called teacher practitioners.
Oh, fancy.
So we're basically, those who have worked in the real world as well as teach. So I think it brings a different experience to the classroom.
Yeah. Definitely. And I think, gosh, like obviously you've connected, like I said before, with so many of our student athletes in particular. And I think that, like one thing that I've noticed is being here at Richmond is, the B school it's I think a popular track. And, tell me a little bit more about the B school, with your time, like just give me some more info on it and what makes it special.
Yeah, I'd say that it's unusual to find a really strong business school like Robbins, the Robbins School of Business, at a small liberal arts university like University of Richmond. Right. And I think that alone makes it different. That, most of the great business schools are at these big state schools like Michigan or Connecticut or what is that one? Arkansas.
Yeah, right.
So it's very unusual where you find a very strong business school, a top 25 business school inside a small, liberal arts university like ours. And I think that's what makes it different. The other thing that makes it different is that if you're at a big state school and you're a sophomore and you end up in the business school, that's where you reside for 3 years. You don't get to walk out of there to take another class. We really encourage our students to get out and take liberal arts classes, take a dance class, go take an ecology class. We want our business students to be well-rounded. Right. And especially what's going on in the environment and the economy today, we need people in American business who are very, very diverse.
Right. And I think that's what makes Richmond special too.
I do.
And that's, as we talk to recruits and student athletes across the country, that's one thing that someone will be like, well, I like the business route, but, there's all these other things that I think I'm interested in.
Some of my best students are like minor in dance.
Right.
Or they minor in, leadership, or they minor in other things. And they're much more well-rounded. And I'll tell you something, they get jobs. And even now, here we are in May or whenever it is of a pandemic, they're getting jobs.
Right.
And I'm amazed that these kids are getting jobs when so many people are being laid off. And they're getting jobs because they're so unique.
Right. And that's what was kind of going to be my next question is why? Like, Hannah, so she graduated this year and she had a job, I want to say December, January, already kind of lined up. Why is that?
It's pretty crazy, Mitch. I mean, it depends what track you take in the business school. So if you're going to be an accounting major, the big 3 or 4 accounting firms come after you as a sophomore at Richmond. So you come in and do an externship, then an internship, and then they want you to do other things. And they're pretty much hiring you by the summer of your junior year.
Crazy.
Now, if you're, and same in the finance world, same thing. Our accounting and finance tracks are really strong and have these strong relationships. If you're a marketing major,
Right.
It's not as exciting as that because marketing firms really don't hire you till you're ready to graduate.
Gotcha.
Simply because they don't know what their needs are at the moment.
Right.
But all of our, not all, 97% of our marketing graduates are employed by the time they graduate. And even now, it blows my mind.
Right. We're like a standstill.
Yeah. The economy's at a standstill, it's declining, and our kids are getting jobs at strong companies like NEC. And, they're getting jobs all over the place. I'm fascinated by that. But again, I think when you look at Richmond, you're looking at a liberal arts university that has a very vibrant, strong business school. Right. And so that's just so unusual. And, I have a daughter who grew up here in Richmond and then went to a snotty Ivy League school. And when I send people up to interview with her, she's like, "Ooh, they're from Richmond." She, is always kind of saying that. But then she's like, "Wow, they're great." So our kids get a very strong, diverse background in a lot of different subjects.
Yeah, that's good. And I think too is one thing when you're diverse like that. I don't know if this really connects too much, but I think you're a better problem solver. You're better at you can solve. I don't know. You can do. I don't know if more open, a better problem solver. I don't know if that's really.
I think you can handle more diverse situations.
Yeah, definitely. Exactly.
And so when a pandemic appears, you don't freak out as badly as someone coming from Michigan who's got a certain way of doing something. So I think you're just a little more, you have the ability to adapt a little bit better.
Definitely, for sure. And I think we've talked definitely about the Robin School business as a whole. Tell me a little more about you specifically, and I know from my understanding it's more marketing on your end. Tell me a little more detail on that track, because that's one that's I think popular with our team and recruits.
Yeah, we've been fortunate to have a lot of your team members go through the marketing track, especially this year. It's a pretty interesting one. You take a number of courses. I think there are 5 requirements that you take. And you take principles of marketing, then you take a marketing research class, and then we have a whole range of other marketing courses. One that's very popular is sales. Right. We actually have a sales team that we took to a contest at the University of Indiana where we won 2 years ago. And you can take digital marketing, you can take international marketing, you can take marketing analytics. I mean, it's a pretty, and the department head made me do a study of what courses we offer versus what schools of comparable size offer. We offer more marketing actual courses than many schools our size. And then many schools larger than us, including like Tulane and SMU where I went. Right. We have more actual different classes. So we work really hard. We're going to offer a class, I think, next spring in sustainability, which is a big deal. Yeah. So we're always moving and changing. I've taught, I think, virtually every class at one point in the marketing department. And recently I've been teaching a course in the fall. I teach one in marketing and media disruption, which I'm looking forward to in the fall because it's a lot of disruption.
Right. Wow. So much practical stuff to throw in there.
Oh, yeah. And then I teach a course in consumer behavior, which I think the pandemic has changed our consumer behavior, as you know. Now that you're ordering every 2 minutes online and all these things are changing. So we're pretty hip, and I don't know if we're hip. We try to remain modern and try to make sure, because it's a field unlike accounting or finance that is constantly in motion. Right. And I mean, look at TV. When's the last time you watched a CBS show? Never, unless it's sports. Right. So, I mean, everything's constantly in motion, and it's hard to keep up with.
Yeah, Definitely. That's cool. And gosh, again, like I always tell people I wish that that I had that experience. And it's cool. And it's, you got, like you said, you're constantly changing with the times and
Right.
throwing new stuff out there, which
I'm going to interrupt you. I
yeah,
apologize for that,
no,
but I also teach a first year seminar course for freshmen,
oh, right.
and it's called Digital Communications. And
Yeah.
yeah, I just had a ball doing that this year. It was,
Yeah.
even though the class ended up online,
Right.
we had a great time. There were 16 freshmen in the class. I would say 6 of them may have been in one of our athletic programs.
Okay.
And it was great. And
Yeah.
teaching freshmen for me is just a ton of fun.
Right.
And especially in the second semester of the year, seniors are kind of done.
Yeah, for sure.
And freshmen are still very active. So
Right.
I think our first year, and I'm also on the first year seminar committee inside.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And I think it's a great thing we offer freshmen.
Right.
And it really helps them think about what they want to do, not when they grow up, but
Right.
think about what they want to do when they're in college, which I
Right.
think is a big deal.
Right. Sometimes I think too, like we look too far forward. Everything's kind of planned for forward, but why not focus on what do you want to do here, right
Yeah,
now? Right.
it's as you know, it's a
Yeah.
quick 4 years, and
Right. Oh my, flies by.
it's over before you know it.
Right.
So I really try to spend some of the time in the first year seminar saying this is going to be over before you can even blink.
Right.
You better appreciate it, and how are you going to appreciate it?
Right.
Which is
Right.
a big deal.
Yeah, it is. It is. Gosh, well, I have one last question, and it's one that I've kind of asked everybody, and we've already hit on it a little bit,
Uh-huh.
but why Richmond? Well, even for you,
Mhm.
even as a student, and it can it can go so many different ways. But I do think that Richmond is a special place, and that's something that I think that we all need to share. But why Richmond?
It's taken me a while to figure that out.
Yeah.
And I think I can define it a little better now that I've been around the place for a decade or so. It's a unique experience. The
Yeah.
brand, the University of Richmond, is a very special, unique experience because you get so much. I'm going to re-emphasize the word so much personal attention.
Yeah.
And if you have a problem, you have people all around you ready to solve it.
Right.
I think that makes it very special. I think that also is important to mom and dad,
Yeah.
knowing that if there's a problem, there are bunches of people around. Sometimes there are too many administrators around, which can cause some issues. But if anybody has a problem in that school, within minutes, there are people there. And I think that makes it special. I think the fact that we're all on campus and the majority of students live on campus, very different than the University of Virginia, where they all live off campus. And so we're all close. And I think it's just it's a place where everybody can participate and be a leader.
Yeah.
Whether that's in athletics, whether that's in clubs, whether that's in a classroom, it's small enough where you can go be in charge of something.
Right.
And you could be in charge of the intramural ice hockey team.
Right.
But at least which is not a bad team, by the way.
No. Not at all.
But at least you're a leader and you get a chance to lead. And when you go, I went to a big state school as an undergrad, and there were, I don't know, 20,000 people there, 25,000 people there. There was very little I could do.
Right.
Whereas at the University of Richmond, students can get involved. They can get involved with their coaches, their teachers, their administrators. I've been amazed at the number of students. I don't know if you watched any of the seniors do shout outs or something. They're shouting out to the dean of the business school.
Right.
Like, are you kidding me?
Yes, exactly.
So, you get to know everyone there.
Right.
And so you feel a part of an organization. And I think that's going to be with you a lifetime, or at least a long time.
Right.
So, and do phenomenally well when they get out.
Right.
Which
Right. And I think that hits it on the nail. I think, similar what kind of what I always say is at Richmond, I think you can you can kind of build your pack and you
Yeah.
can surround yourself with really great people. And not that you can't do that at a bigger school. I just think Richmond allows you to thrive in that environment. And I think it's hard not to start getting great people around you.
Absolutely, and I'll give you a quick story. The student who got the best. I'll embarrass her. I won't use her name, but she got the best student. She won the best student award in the business school as a senior. She was on the wait list.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Got in as a freshman and thrived. And this is a kid who could be at an Ivy League school easily. I mean, she was teaching me things in the classroom. And so I think it's just if you can find your niche inside the school, there's nothing better. It's an ideal place to go to college. And I was always told as a senior in high school, well, all colleges are the same and they experience, they'll teach you the same stuff. They may teach you the same thing. It's just a whole different experience.
Right.
And I've seen kids thrive inside of our environment, like the student who won that award. I've seen kids thrive inside of your swim and dive program, and they thrive because they get a chance to be who they are.